Welcome back, everyone. Next, we have CopAur Minerals, Inc., trades on the OTCQB under the symbol COPAF and on the TSXV under the symbol CPAU. It's focused on developing projects within the emerging mineral-rich mining regions of Nevada and backed by a dynamic and experienced team of resource professionals advancing its projects in Nevada, with the flagship project being Kinsley Mountain Gold Project, a Carlin-style project located 90 kilometers south of the Long Canyon Mine. Happy to welcome CEO Andrew Neale today. Now, Andrew, you have recently joined CopAur Minerals, and this is your first time presenting on our conference. So perhaps you can introduce yourself to our attendees and then provide them with some information on your background and experience, please.
Thank you, Anna. Yes, I've just joined the company as of September this year. I've actually spent most of my career overseas, so I'm returning to Vancouver and reestablishing a presence here. I am Canadian. I went to engineering school at the University of Alberta in Edmonton, studied under Dr. Brian Flintoff, one of the great educators of our generation. Started my engineering apprenticeship with the likes of Falconbridge in Sudbury, Ontario, and Noranda at the Brenda Mine near Peachland, BC. Then in 1993, I joined Freeport at their Grasberg operation in Indonesia and was their vice president of technical services with responsibility for managing the development of the processing facilities in the mid-90s at the Grasberg and various other duties and responsibilities. So that was a very exciting time in my career working with Freeport up until 2005. I then returned to Canada for a couple of years and worked with some investment banking groups evaluating projects on a global basis. Then moved to Nicaragua, was running a privately owned gold mine in Nicaragua, owned by Hemco. And then we sold that project to a Colombian mining group, after which I returned to Jakarta with my family. And I've been in Jakarta for the last 10 years, running executive positions on various Indonesian-owned, publicly traded companies based in Jakarta. I made the decision to move back to Vancouver, and I've known our chairman, Conrad Swanson, for many years. We were reintroduced. I didn't realize he was looking for a CEO. He didn't realize I was looking for a job, and so we decided that I would join forces with Conrad, and here I sit. And I think we need to recast the story of CopAur, given that it's been fairly quiescent for the last couple of years for a variety of reasons. So with that, perhaps I can start my presentation on CopAur. As we mentioned, CopAur is focused on two past producing properties in Nevada. CopAur is a relatively small company with a market cap in the range of $10 to $15 million. And as Anna mentioned, we're traded on the Toronto Venture Exchange and over the counter in the United States. Currently, there's just under 90 million shares issued and slightly less than 13 million warrants outstanding. As with all presentations, we have a standard forward-looking statement slide, but this gives me a chance to address some compliance issues, which we take very seriously at CopAur. On the technical side, we have a long-standing relationship with a group called Apex Geosciences, based out of Edmonton, Alberta, led locally by Chris Raffel, their VP of Field Operations and Manager of the Vancouver office. Chris acts as the independent qualified person for any technical statements that the company makes on behalf of the regulated to our shareholders and potential investors. Chris is a graduate of UBC with over 20 years experience in mine geology, including extensive experience with Carlin-type deposits and epithermal orogenic type gold systems, which are directly applicable to the projects that CopAur have in Nevada. On the finance and compliance side, we have a great back office team led by Chantel Collins, our CFO, and Taryn Downing, our compliance officer, both of whom have extensive regulatory and oversight experience with publicly traded companies and serve a very critical role in keeping guys like me on the straight and narrow when it comes to regulatory issues. Currently, we're just completing our independent financial audit for the company, with our fiscal year being July through June. Chantel tells me there's no findings on the part of the auditors, and we will be presenting the findings to our board very shortly. When you look at a company like CopAur Minerals, it's useful to revert back to what I've referred to the 5 Ps that have been coined by Doug Casey, an internationally respected mining investor. Those are people, property, politics, push, and financing, with people being absolutely critical to the development of any project and the sustainability of any mining company. Our chairman, Conrad Swanson, brought on Chris Babcock as the chief operating officer prior to my arrival. Chris is very well known in the North American heap leach industry, having spent many years with companies such as Glamis Gold, Alamos Gold, and Corex Gold. Chris has experience ranging from bulk testing through to design, construction, commissioning, and operation of gold heap leach operations. He's worked throughout Nevada, Arizona, and into Mexico. Therefore, what I lack in any hands-on experience with gold heap leach operations, Chris can certainly fill in those gaps. Chris is actually on site at the Kinsley property this week and is in the early stage of putting together a scope of work to allow the company to table a preliminary economic assessment towards the end of Q1 of next year, with the focus being on a restart of the Kinsley gold mine. In addition, we're very fortunate to have Chester Miller on board as a technical advisor to CopAur. And I would suggest between Chris and Chester, there is very little the two of them have not seen or done in the gold heap leach operation. So very strong technical background supporting our projects. In developing this team, and including myself, the company's developed a very clear focus on bringing the Kinsley property back into production. Kinsley operated a conventional gold heap leach operation through the late 90s under the ownership of Alta Gold. At that time, gold prices were slightly over $350 an ounce, and their reported all-in sustaining costs on that project were less than $250 an ounce, netting a margin of $100 an ounce. Alta Gold made an unfortunate decision regarding a second property, became overextended, and eventually declared Chapter 13 bankruptcy through no fault of the Kinsley property. And as we're all aware, gold prices have increased by a factor of 10 since Kinsley was shut down. While we await the tabling of the PEA before making any predictions, we are fully expecting the economics of a restart of the Kinsley gold mine to be both robust and very financeable. Recently, we submitted an application to the local regulator in Nevada to sample the existing heap leach pad to quantify the level of residual gold on that leach pad. We hope to have that permit issued by the end of this year, and we will be prepared to do the sampling work in early January of next year. So in terms of property, Doug Casey's second P, Kinsley has all the earmarks of what you would look for in developing a small, profitable gold mine. Push, a third P, refers to the timing, marketing, and other catalysts, including broader market cycles, that can push investor sentiment and re-rate the stock. We believe the team we put together at CopAur, along with the recent uptrend in gold prices and the plan to table a PEA in Q2 of next year, will certainly be welcomed by the investment community, providing the appropriate push to move the project forwards. The company has made a conscious decision to focus on projects in Nevada, which is one of the world's premier mining districts, based on the infrastructure they provide, such as power and road access, and location in a state with a long history of successful gold mining. The Fraser Institute has consistently ranked Nevada in the top 5 on its investment attractiveness index. If Nevada were an independent country, it would rank 5th in the world for gold production and is responsible for over 80% of the annual gold production coming out of the United States. So another P, politics, ranks the project highly in a stable mining-friendly country such as the United States and in states such as Nevada, with enforceable rule of law, clear permitting guidelines, and respect for property rights. This compares favorably with other jurisdictions where I've worked in my career, where governments can often change the rules mid-game or expropriate assets. In terms of location, based on this map, the Kinsley property is about 65 kilometers south of Interstate 80. And if you fly into Salt Lake City, you could literally be on the property in less than 3 hours. Troy Canyon is a couple of hundred kilometers south of Kinsley, 250 kilometers north of Las Vegas. And if you fly into either Tonopah or Ely, Nevada, you can drive to the property within 2 hours. So both properties have excellent location and infrastructure. This presentation is available on the company website at copaur.com, so I won't read the details of this slide. Suffice to say, we have a 5-person board, including our chairman, Conrad Swanson, who have the collective experience in financing, resource development, and public company oversight that you would like to see in any publicly listed company. Additionally, the company has access to a well-experienced advisory board, including Chester Miller and Christopher Raffel, who I previously mentioned, and Alvin Jackson, who is currently with Free Gold Ventures. Alvin is a highly regarded geologist in the industry, and most recently has been a key driver in the exploration and development of the 30 million ounce Golden Summit indicated and inferred resource near Fairbanks, Alaska, adjacent to the operating Fort Knox mine. So we're very fortunate to have an advisory panel with this depth of knowledge in our industry. As I mentioned, in terms of corporate structure, CopAur is tightly held by management and close associates, with less than 90 million shares outstanding and less than 13 million warrants currently issued. CopAur has 100% interest in the 4,200 hectare Kinsley concession, comprised of 513 unpatented lode mining claims and 5 patented mining claims, covering a good portion of the north-south trending Kinsley Mountain Range, predominantly located in Elko County, with some claims extending into White Pine County to the south. A National Instrument 43-101 compliant report was tabled in June 2021 and is filed on CDAR, and it identifies an indicated gold resource of 418,000 ounces of gold at an average grade of 2.6 grams per ton, and an inferred resource of 117,000 ounces at 1.5 grams per ton, for a total of 530,000 ounces indicated and inferred. Of these, just over 300,000 ounces are contained in a buried shale structure with an average grade of just over 6 grams per ton. The gold at Kinsley is hosted in a Carlin-style carbonate replacement sedimentary system consistent with other deposits in that area of Nevada. Going forward, the company's focus will be on the near-surface oxide gold suitable for open pit mining and heap leaching, with the deeper high-grade refractory to be a drill target at some time in the future once cash flow has been established. Previous work indicated that gold recoveries in the order of 75 to 80% of these oxide resources could be achieved on a conventional heap leach using fairly coarse primary crushing. While it is early days, some geologists have drawn parallels with the deep-seated shales with the Long Canyon project located 90 kilometers to the north. While structurally they appear similar in terms of high sulfur sedimentary systems, it appears at this time they're unlikely to be physically connected, as some have actually proposed. While the metallurgical work on the sulfide gold systems is preliminary in nature, very high gold recoveries have been achieved using conventional froth flotation on select samples, with excellent upgrading of the gold into a flotation concentrate that would be suitable for processing in existing refractory gold processing plants currently located in Nevada. In 2020 through to 2023, additional drilling was completed with a total meterage of 20,000 meters, of which 18,000 meters with RC drilling, and included 10 deep diamond drill holes. These drill programs were designed as an expansive exploration and near resource focused effort that looked at making new discoveries at a number of areas within the concession. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to meet with our consultants at Apex, and they will be incorporating this drill information into the current geological and mineralization model, and that work should be completed by the end of January next year. This work will then form the basis of future RC drill program that we believe will further extend the oxide gold mineralization to the north of the existing open pit. In this section, one can see on the left, you can see the limits of the previous mining as seen in the gray line on the left. The broader black line indicates the resource pit outline as defined in the 2021 report. And you can see further to the right of that section, which is to the north, the RC drill results that have not yet been incorporated into the geological model, which will be the focus of the work to be done by Apex over the next few months. And we believe will confirm that the gold mineralization is open to the north of the existing open pit. The right-hand image shows the Kinsley Mountain Range and provides an indication of why this area could perhaps be ideal for mining, and that there is limited land use competition. The land is not suitable for grazing, there are no communities in the area, and there are no indigenous land claims in the area at this time. The claims over the Kinsley Mountains extend almost 9 kilometers north-south, and while significant surface mapping has been completed, as shown in the image on the right, it is probably fair to say that only about 20% of the claim area has been explored in detail. As a result of this work, various near mine targets and greenfield targets have been identified and will be the subject of future exploration work. Once the ongoing geological modeling has been complete, we will further refine these targets, understanding that short-term to medium-term focus is on the near oxide, open pitable exploration efforts, leaving the deeper sulfide structures for a later date. We've been fortunate to retain the service of Sarah Thorne and Associates, a highly regarded group based in Reno that have extensive experience in all aspects of permitting and regulatory oversight in Nevada. Sarah, as a result of the quality work she delivers, has an outstanding reputation with the regulators in Nevada, both at the federal level and the state level, and will be working with us at CopAur through all aspects of developing our projects in Nevada. Chris Babcock and I, along with additional external support, plan to table a preliminary economic assessment by the end of Q1 2026, which will then define the go-forward trajectory on the project. Our second project is Troy Canyon, also a past producer, having operated until the late 1940s by various unincorporated gold miners. It has variously been described as an epithermal or mesothermal or orogenic type gold deposit, with obviously much yet to be learned. Suffice to say, the 300-meter long structure that can be traced on the surface has yielded some exceptionally high-grade chip samples with virtually no modern-day exploration of the structure at depth. The claim is approximately 439 hectares in area and encompasses 59 contiguous unpatented mining claims. Troy Canyon is located approximately 150 kilometers northeast of Tonopah and 250 kilometers north of Las Vegas and is road accessible. There's been minimal activity in the last few years, although the claims have been maintained in good standing through payment of the annual fees. We are currently commencing the permitting process to get an exploration crew on the ground in the latter half of 2026. This permitting includes a permit to repair the local access road, which was washed out as a result of a flash flood several years ago, and that work will be done to conform with local flood management and drainage requirements. As a result of the historical mining activities dating back to the mid-1800s, we will require to complete an archaeological survey to document those activities. This survey will quantify any long-term environmental impacts of the previous mining activities and confirm what, if any, remediation COPAU will be responsible for vis-a-vis any future disturbances in the area. The survey will also identify if there are any historical buildings or workings that need to be preserved during any exploration or mining activities undertaken by COPAU. In addition, we will complete a raptor survey. We believe there are nesting golden eagle pairs on the property, and this survey will quantify the number of pairs and/or active nesting sites on the property. While the golden eagle, which is endemic throughout the northern hemisphere, is not in of itself an endangered species, it is a monitored species, and the company would want to know how many nesting pairs are on the property before commencing any long-term activities. Once these permits are issued, the survey is completed and the access road repaired, COPAU will put a geological team on the property to commence a detailed mapping program, including rock chip sampling, with a view of establishing drill pads for a future drill program, with our current expectation that a significant drill program could be commenced in early 2027. This completes my formal presentation on COPAU on our two properties in Nevada. Our audience can contact me through our website at copaur.com or by email at aneale@copaur.com. With that, I hand it back to you, Anna.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Andrew, first of all, you stated that you like the regulatory environment in Nevada. Can you comment on recent changes announced by the current administration in regards to permitting issues on federally regulated lands?
Yes, Anna. In fact, I can't claim to be an expert on these issues. I just watch the news like most people. My understanding of some changes proposed in the regulatory environment at the federal level is to avoid a problem that mine proponents have had in the past, in which the regulator has approved a specific project, and then a non-connected third party can move in and actually take the regulator to court and challenge their decision, which often ties up the development of project for many years through the activities of these well-funded third parties. My understanding is the federal government is going to minimize those sort of activities. And once the federal regulator has approved a project, then the proponent can proceed with the development of that project, which most of us believe is a very positive step in the regulatory environment in the United States in general and in Nevada in particular.
And will there be an update to the resource estimate in the near future?
We'll certainly update the geological model in early 2026. And depend on the findings, we can then update the resource model. At this stage, our interest is making sure we fully understand the geological and mineralogical model on the Kinsley property to help us further advance both the development of a heap leach operation and identify close to the mine targets for future drilling.
And your 43101, is that accurate to date?
Well, we haven't updated the resource estimate from that resource, the report that was tabled in mid-2021. And in the PEA, we will provide some additional guidance on the resource estimates and how that fits into the future development of the Kinsley property. That should be completed by the end of Q1 of 2026.
And talk about what your projects look like in terms of infrastructure.
Well, Kinsley is very close to the Interstate 80, which connects Salt Lake City with San Francisco. You can drive there in a conventional motor vehicle. It was previously in production. There's power available close by. We have water licenses on those properties. And in general, it's a easily accessible property, certainly relative to some of the projects I was involved in Indonesia. So we're very happy with having these properties in Nevada and taking advantage of that sort of infrastructure that's readily available to the company.
And does the valuation of CopAur seem not in line with the increasing price of gold? Could you contribute this to what?
Yes, I've just recently come on board. I would say the company has been relatively quiet over the last 2 years for a variety of reasons. I think with Chris Babcock and myself on board, people can be convinced or confident that there's a serious effort to bring this property into production. We have the track record to do that. I think in the maze of junior exploration companies, CopAur has sort of become lost. And part of my job in the next few weeks, few months, is to raise our profile and get investor interest back to a level where I think CopAur will be fairly valued at a much higher stock price. And that's one of my tasks going forward.
Perfect. Well, Andrew, do you have any closing remarks for our viewers today?
No, I just follow up that I'm contactable through the website. Happy to answer any follow-up questions from existing shareholders or potential investors in the company.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time and presentation today, and we look forward to following along with your journey here.
Thank you very much for your support, Anna. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. Everyone, we'll be back in just a bit.